is your usual suspect. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. It's been a mixed weather Tuesday, both sunny and rainy down in Kampala. It's been that kind of day, but we remain with our struggles, power issues here and there. Women is not doing us any good, left, right, and center. But it is what it is. We shall not dwell so much on that. I wanted us to hit the breaking news that is Trent Alexander Arnold has agreed to join Real Madrid. Now, we spoke about him yesterday when we were looking at Luis Luis Diaz's situation with Liverpool. We spoke all matters Liverpool, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, discussed Ibrahim Konate in that mix because he's got a year left to his contract at the end of this season. So we spoke all about that. But it's been a known secret in the football world that Real Madrid have been monitoring Alexander Trent Arnold's situation. They've been trying to court him. They've been trying to convince him to join the whites there of Real Madrid this summer of 2025. And it looks like they made a massive step towards that, achieving that objective, because the England international has agreed to join Real Madrid. Now, nothing formal has been signed yet, but usually when players are left with under 6 months to their contracts, they are allowed to agree deals in principle with clubs outside of their current, country. That's, for example, if you're a player in the Premier League and you have less than 6 months to your contract, you're allowed to agree to pre-transfer agreements or deals with clubs in Germany, in France, in Italy, in Spain, or whichever where you may want to trade your football from. So it emanates from that source. We all know that his contract does run out this summer. That's June 30th. That's when his contract ends with the Reds of Liverpool. Liverpool are already informed / are aware of the situation that it is that he has agreed to join Real Madrid. They are informed. They are yet to give Real Madrid a green light because while a player is allowed to have an agreement with the other club, or usually of signing of formal paperwork, if a club wants to do it pre-hand, then it has to speak to the other club that we are going to this kind of arrangement. But so reports have it that he's been tabled with his contract. That's for Alexander Trent Arnold from Real Madrid, together with his camp to discuss the contract, to iron out the nitty-gritties, to those issues that they normally discuss. Usually salary is not an issue at this point in time, but usually it boils down to things like image rights, bonuses. Given that he's joining as a free agent in the summer, that means that Real Madrid are not spending money to buy him out of Liverpool. So that means you're talking about sign-on fees that he gets, and all the other incentives, usually the way they may come. So those are the things that they discussed at this stage. And how do transfers work? Usually transfers work when a club A wants player X, and usually before when there's money involved that should be swapped between two clubs, usually the club A that wants maybe player X from club B will speak to the player's agent initially to say, who would want to sign your player? For example, Alexander Trent Arnold, would he be willing to join us? And then if it's a yes, then discussions progress on. Okay, under what conditions would he want to join us? Blah, blah, blah. And they discuss that. Now, once they have that concrete, a go forward from the player side, that's on the agent side, then they go and speak to the other club that, well, would want to sign a player. What are your demands? Let's say Real Madrid want to sign Alexander Trent Arnold from Liverpool, and it's going to cost them, let's say Liverpool would say £50 million, and Madrid would say that's high, blah, 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 and they negotiate until they reach a final fee. However, like I've said, that if a player has under 6 months left to his contract, then he can start negotiations with other clubs outside his current club country where he is playing from. And that is what has happened in the wake of Alexander Trent Arnold. Ricardo Moulton, I hope I pronounce your name well. Thank you for joining the broadcast. So, like I was explaining the situation, that's pretty much that's happened. We all know that Liverpool have a host of players whose contracts run out at the end of the season, and Alexander Trent Arnold has been one of those, including Virgil van Dijk, including Mo Salah. Recently, David Austin came out to reveal that Mo Salah was open to extending his stay at Liverpool for depending on what contract they may table. Remember, he has also spoken previously himself, that's Mo Salah, in the course of the season that this, he did not say explicitly, but he did signal in one way that this could be his last season at Liverpool, because he said he wants to be remembered as somebody that contributed to the club, as somebody that helped the club win silverware. At this stage where we are, Liverpool are already out of 3 competitions. That's the UEFA Champions League, the FA Cup, and they did lose the Carabao Cup final to Newcastle. So that means their only hope of silverware is going ahead to win the Premier League, in which they are in pole position to go ahead and win. They're 12 points clear ahead of Arsenal. They have 70 points amassed, while Arsenal have 58, who are in second place, and then in third place, I think it's Nottingham Forest with 54 points, and then the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Aston Villa, etc., do follow in there in the mix. So Alexander Trent Arnold at Real Madrid is an almost here we go at tomorrow, if I'm to borrow the words of Fabrizio Romano. They've sent him the paperwork. We'll know in the coming days whether he will put pen to paper. Now, it is reported, this is according to Ben Jacobs of, I think, Ben Jacobs, who works with different media houses, including Gimme Sport. He does say that Trent Alexander Arnold has chosen Real Madrid, with parties working to get a contract signed. Real ideally want Alexander Arnold for the Club World Cup. Now, we all know that the big clubs will be playing in the new expansive FIFA Club World Cup, and that tournament is going to be hosted in the United States this summer. So maybe we'll speak about that. So they want him to be a part of that squad. And you remember yesterday again we were speaking about Chelsea, and we were speaking about their new signings in Quendo. That's Giovanni Quendo, who they are signing from Sporting Lisbon for 44 million pounds, according to Sporting Lisbon, and Dario Esugo. Now, it is reported that Chelsea want Dario Esugo to join them very early, as soon as the season ends, so that he can be part of their traveling squad that goes to the United States to play in the FIFA Club World Cup, especially knowing that Romeo Lavia may not be, available or fit enough to play in that tournament. Again, that situation could change, but nonetheless, they would want Dario Esugo to be available in that Chelsea squad. So they've already made those signings from Sporting Lisbon. Now, it is a similar situation here with Real Madrid. They want to do the same thing. They want Alexander Arnold to be at least available for that FIFA Club World Cup that will be in the United States this summer. So he goes on to say that this requires La Liga to take the 1st to 10th June window, and Liverpool to allow Alexander Trent Arnold out of his contract early. Later, no issue once Real Madrid latter, no issue once Real Madrid deal formalized, meaning it's not an issue for Alexander Trent Arnold. Now, this is exactly what I was explaining, that while a player is allowed to agree deals in principle with other clubs outside the Premier League, in this case for Trent Alexander Arnold. Now, remember his contract does end on the 30th of June, and yet the tournament in itself would require him to be registered in the first 10 days of the summer transfer window. That's anywhere between 1st and 10th June. So, yet, between those days, he will be still under formal contract with Liverpool, because his contract ends on the 30th of June. So, what does that mean? It means that Real Madrid would have to speak to Liverpool to let Trent Arnold, to let him out of his contract earlier than it should be, or earlier in time, to then allow Real Madrid to sign a formal contract with him so that he can be registered with La Liga and then subsequently make the squad for the FIFA Club World Cup that will be played. But so that's the information we are getting from Ben Jacobs. Very, very interesting. This is a very developing situation. Things are moving really fast. Like I said, Real Madrid started quoting Alexander Trent Arnold as far back as I think around March last year. They've been monitoring his situation. They've been whispering all the nice things in his ears. And I mean, people like former Watford captain, that's Traidini, have come out to applaud the decision to say that Alexander Trent Arnold is making the right decision. Now, having been at Liverpool, he's won the FA Cup, he's won the UEFA Champions League. That was in 2019 when they beat up against Tottenham Hotspurs by 2-0 in the final. He's won the Premier League. That's the 2019-2020 season, Premier League season. They did edge Man City, by far the better team. They are almost on the verge of winning another Premier League title. They did win the Carabao Cup, beating up against Chelsea last season in the final by a goal to nil. That goal scored by Virgil van Dijk. So clearly, all pieces of silverware that there is for him to win, possibly at Liverpool, he's done that. And I think he's been one of the most consistent players at Liverpool ever since in that very competitive Liverpool side. We could talk about Alisson Becker, we could talk about Alexander Trent Arnold, we could talk about Virgil van Dijk, we could talk about his co-partner, that is Robertson, on the other side of the left back line. And then, of course, we add into the mix the likes of Mohamed Salah in terms of players that have been consistent so far, over the years for this Liverpool side. And like I said, I do think this will go on to be confirmed as a deal that will go through. I do not expect any issues. He's been a diligent servant to Liverpool. But a miracle, I do not expect any U-turns. I mean, so having played all the good football in England, really, sincerely speaking, Real Madrid is indeed that next step. Liverpool, six UEFA Champions League titles to their name, while on the other side, Real Madrid have 15. So it's arguably the biggest footballing brand in the world. Arguably, for me, yes. And then you add on the likes of Manchester United, the likes of Barcelona, the likes of Arsenal, the likes of Bayern Munich, the likes of Paris Saint-Germain, and all the other teams in the mix. So clearly, moving away from Liverpool to Real Madrid is climbing that next step in the world of football. We all remember people like Michael Owen leaving Liverpool to go play at Real Madrid. Then we all remember David Beckham leaving Manchester United to go and play at Real Madrid. For Eden Hazard, I think that was around 2019, left Chelsea to go to Real Madrid. For him, it did not work out. So those are some of the transfers that have been made from England to Spain or to Real Madrid specifically. Luka Modric from Tottenham to Real Madrid. Gareth Bale from Tottenham to Real Madrid. We all remember Emmanuel Adebayo did play at Real Madrid. We all remember Lassana Diarra had a stint with Real Madrid under that spell of Jose Mourinho. So clearly, he's not going to be the first player leaving England to go and join Real Madrid. So we do expect that deal to go through. Like I said, we spoke about most of this, including Mo Salah. We are waiting to see or to hear or to know where Mo Salah will be playing his football next season, where Virgil van Dijk will be playing his trade next season. Will they be staying at Anfield? We are waiting to see. Ibrahim Konate, with a year left to his contract at the end of the season, we are waiting to see what the future holds for him. What does this mean for Robertson? I mean, these are all good players that big teams may be hunting down for. Is it the time to poach Liverpool? Liverpool themselves are going to be in the market looking for a holding midfielder, looking for a centre back, and looking for a striker. They are very open to letting go of Darwin Nunes. We all know they are open to letting go of Luis Diaz. So we spoke about that yesterday. That means all those players will need a replacement, because once you let those out of the window, you need to replace them. In the case that you lose Mohamed Salah, you ought to be in the market to try and find a replacement. Of course, you may not find the perfect player in terms of pound for pound, like the local adage goes, where your friend lives is not replaced by a friend. Which loosely translates that where you lose a leg, you replace that with a walking stick or a stick. So clearly, pound for pound, they may not be able to replace players like Virgil van Dijk, like Mo Salah, should they leave straight away. But I do not think they will lose sleep over losing Trent Alexander Arnold. Very good going forward. We all know that. Provided so many assists over the years. Defensively, yes, sometimes he can be a bit lacking, but I mean, he offers everything there is to offer progressively going forward, including inverting into that midfield. We've seen him even be played in that midfield role on the England national team, and that kind of thing, even at Liverpool itself. So clearly, it won't be no issue. And when you're going to play under a manager like Carlo Ancelotti, you can really back yourself to succeed. So that's the news coming out of Liverpool. Allow me keep it here, and we will engage further should there be any other new topics to come. If you're Ugandan, do not miss that game between Uganda and Guinea. That's going to go on at Nambole at 7 p.m. East African time. Unfortunately, for those of us who wish to watch the game from home, we're still kind of on the edge. Umeme is here to tell us whether we'll have that opportunity to watch the game. But anyways, we'll do our best not to miss all that action. Otherwise, stay blessed for now, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.